So, I'm going to be talking about a few things that happened. I couldn't come on Saturday or Sunday, mostly because, there's reasons behind that, and it's just, the fact is that, well, it's actually not easy to come online if you're, dealing with other things in your life, so, here I am. So, what can I talk about? Well, Guru made a stupid apology that means absolutely nothing. I guess that's something. Then you have, like, a couple people I've known for a while that are friends. Chris Chen got locked up for 130 days. Well, let me put it that way. That's the and what? And who the frick cares? He's a freaking irritation. People call it Chris. I honestly don't know why people think that it's what he did is freaking dumb, but it is. I personally cannot understand people in this very stupid world some days. And yes, I believe people are stupid. It isn't exactly as if I can do anything to deter somebody from being stupid. Then again, I have seen stupid, and most people that are stupid are usually people that I actually dealt with most of my time dealing with irritations of people that I've met in high school, junior high. Out in Montana, and I haven't talked to her and her husband in like close to 6 months because of what their family right now is dealing with. It is more of it's their thing, not mine. Two of my friends got to go to Days2-4, which I am surprisingly jealous of. I am not an atheist, but I want to go for educational purposes, and that is just, mostly because I absolutely love, Lloyd, who's a, very, well-known in the SJW crowd. I pay attention to his stuff because, honestly, having friends who are former JWs, I really want to make sure I actually understand where they're coming from when somebody is actually using a religion that's basically a cult. Truthfully, the only thing I have to say, considering I went through a little bit something similar but different, is I went through, the years when, let's just say certain, I was part of the Episcopal Church when I was a child, and we had a totally different outcome back in the 1990s. If anyone was there for the split, there was a split between the Anglican and the Episcopal Church. I was part of that as a child. I was not actually impressed with the way people were treated, because the treatment of the LGBTQ is still such a, I am still angry about that, because honestly, that is certainly a bad thing to go through, even if you are gay, because even though the person who was part of it was part of the LGBTQ, he was a known priest, he was still recommended by the Bishop of Canterbury of the Episcopal Church, and was a human being. So I was still one of those kids who was affected, because it just solidified a still angry belief that a gay person cannot have a place within a faith that they were born into or part of. That just broke my heart, because these are people who I don't consider. I mean, I had a bishop that I had a priest that I enjoyed growing up, who was an amazing warrior. I lost faith in him a long time ago, but for me, Father Larry was probably one of the nicest people ever, and people just touched him harshly for being who he was. It did not occur to me that him being gay was an issue. I mean, the Anglican Church, to me, I believe is very homophobic. I know people in the Anglican Church who are not, but it still suffices to say they don't answer to the Bishop of Canterbury anymore. And that is not what I project as a good aspect anymore. I grew up in that, and honestly, that's not conducive to the belief, but it's also conducive to the fact that my family knew this was wrong, knew that there were cases that were not sexually assaulting anybody or were really good people. But the fact remains that you still have that mentality, even to this day, that I cannot fathom in the light of sense of things, because these were people I grew up around. So, please understand, when I mentioned that I was raised around these people, but I was also raised around to be an individual. That's the one thing I did not like about anything, really. I don't say that in the most evilistic ways ever, but if people want to know the answers to my questions, or answer to the question of why these are the way they are, it isn't easy to deal with people who I do want to bring up is involving somebody by the name of Sappho. I think that's what she's called. I don't know. I honestly am one of those few people who see her and just cringe. I am not a fan of what she has done, nor am I a fan of anything that is remotely linked to her. And I am going to mention, yes, I am a furry, but I am not one of those kind of furries. I am I'm an artist or a photographer. I don't understand this kind of people, so I just look at it kind of like the intricate feeling of what the hell. I mean, I know by mentioning the fact that I am very, very anti-zoophile as a furry because one, animals cannot consent to its one, that's not part of who we are in the fur fandom at all. I do not believe in that kind of belief structure, and most people who have met me in the furry fandom probably would find out that I am severely I have no sympathy for her. I am not a sympathetic ear because, for one, I prefer adopting an animal, taking care of it until its old age, and letting it pass away naturally. I do not believe in any of that. What I don't get with people is the fact that there are people out there who believe that I do not believe in actually hurting anybody, but that's just my take on the matter. But the thing is, I've always had with the fur fandom, and most of it has little to do with it's how we're perceived by some people, and that is the perception that we are. No. I have told people this before. I do not believe in being a jerk, but there are some people that I think in the fur fandom that are completely dickheads. And I don't really want to deal with that. I do not want to deal with drama. I do not like dealing with what Sappho has done in any case, because it kind of contradicts what our fandom is about and how the fandom works. I don't think it's fair to be a jerk on that case, but again, I have been in the fan base long enough to know that people are going to take whatever I say and really turn it on their head and say that I am a complete and utter weirdo because I don't believe in any of that. But as I've told people in many cases in the fandom, whatever Sappho is doing, it is, one, goes against everything our fandom stands for, I don't really care if that pisses people off a bit, but for me, it represents the fact that there are still people that believe some of the stupid-ass lies. I am not a fan of the NAFO. I am not a fan of being a part of the fur fandom and being considered a, you know, I don't consider that. I consider it disgusting. I consider it wrong. I consider everything that I have heard about this woman as being totally contradictory to what I believe in. And I'm going to be very honest to any furry out there. If you are feeling that this is how our fandom should be seen, I really will stand there and tell you it's not. I'm sorry to be, honest with you. And I honestly don't really like people who treat, furries like crap, but I also don't feel like it's fair to anyone in the fan base to be contradicted by the concept that they are from that kind of bad situation. I'm not going to go there and say, oh, that's how we're supposed to be. I once went to a fandom function and noticed that with how unprofessional some of these people act. And it isn't as if a fully functional human being can act like a fucking adult. I would appreciate that, but of course, no. They can't act like adults. That's just not in the way they're programmed some days. I literally could not tell you how many times I have told people to act like an adult and end up getting that whole comment of acting like a child to get what they want. I had to deal with that with a certain individual in the anime community who was a complete and utter innocent child. I couldn't understand why I did not feel an ounce of sympathy for him. And the reason I didn't feel sympathy toward him is because of the way he acted and the way he treated me. Like, I was supposed to be his girlfriend, and mentally he was a abusive, childish nincompoop who probably should not have. I don't even think he graduated high school, much less even had a maturity level that I could call adult. Because, honestly, he was a pretty bad person, but I can't exactly say yay or nay, because honestly, people have said worse about me in the anime fandom as being hypocritical or self-centered when I was standing up for myself. But then again, hail to the comparison, I can't stand up for myself. That was the biggest problem, because they didn't want me to stand up. Hey, I don't think it was fair. This is not how you treat somebody. Unfortunately, in the furry fandom, it's still the same mentality, but I'm thinking some people just never grew up or never left high school in their mentality, because that actually makes sense. But then again, you're looking at a group of people that probably should not have been allowed in a social structure because of the way they treat an individual who isn't like just like them. FYI, if you ever attend a convention, I tend to tell people that if I was to go, there is an event I would love to go to eventually, and that's called the Faceless Forum, and mostly it's for educational reasons. I want to be able to be educated on how being an atheist is just like everybody else. To me, being a person who is not an atheist, but a pagan, my beliefs have always been that no matter what your faith is or lack thereof, you're still a person, you're still of value as a human being, as a friendship, and I'm open to friendships from that kind of group, because I've been there and I've been through that kind of hell, known as because you have no God, let me put it this way, it doesn't matter if you believe in a God, or if you don't believe in a God, because the person that's standing in front of me is probably going to be a better person to talk to than the person who is going to turn around and tell me I'm a bad person because I don't believe. I didn't believe in God because when I was a kid, being told, oh, you're not, it's that whole mentality of, you're doing so well for you're someone with your mental health. Can I mention that that in itself is beyond rude to tell a person with who learns differently that they are basically doing everything in their power is done incorrectly, and then you're just adding more you're adding more fuel to a fire by telling somebody that, because it's just basically giving a person the self-fulfilling prophecy of you're not as good as, or oh my gosh, you're doing so well, and then you're just totally debasing the person based on their different learning style. And everybody has a learning style that's completely different than, say, the person that is in front of you or in a classroom setting. If I were to show, let's say, somebody from my childhood, I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do my sister, because that's like the best description, because everyone believed my little sister was going to be a better individual than me, and that was the whole perception that everybody had of my little sister, that I was a slouch, I was a bad person, I did everything wrong, and everybody was so proud of my little sister because she got into the English program, which was a advanced learning program, but yet here I was, the learning disabled child who couldn't even get into the program and being treated as if I did everything wrong. My grandmother once told me that it wouldn't matter if I got into the program or not, but I was so angry because that was the biggest mental issue I ever saw, were these adults that treated me like, holy crap, you're doing everything wrong, blah blah blah, your sister is this. And I just felt like I was in competition with my little sister constantly. And that's even worse, because your little sister is supposed to be your ally, and it turned into a competition. I mean, I never could guess why they competed us together. My mom just sat there one day and asked, why are you competing, forcing my daughters to compete? And that was in itself my mother's intention. I was just standing there one day, and my mother told me that what they made me and my sister feel like were was a complete moron. The other one that actually got me on my frustrations is this is actually, I believe, was built off of a very different capacity of guilt. If you ever attend any of the meetings that I have ever gone to growing up, the worst thing I ever went through was, there was these kids in my class, and I never understood their incessant need to compete, and I never understood why they made me absolutely hate life. I literally hated going to school because I felt it just wasn't conducive to my mental capacity. Now, people can say whatever they want and say, oh, you're just making things up, blah, blah. But I remember a competition that was at my school to get to something called the Green Award. Now, I remember getting into this award as a kid, and my mom considered it the pity award, because people pretty much believed that my little sister and I didn't deserve that award. And I just remember being that whole, I think it was just disgusting how I was given an award for, and it was just this green ribbon with this big W on it, and it was meant for my elementary school, and it was just this pity me award. I called it the pity me, because all it did is just put fuel on the fire that I was still unworthy of being accepted as a kid. I mean, honestly, it was like that participation award. I mean, what the freaking hell? I mean, what the freaking hell, school? You give me a pity award? Just for the fact that I had the most improvement for what? I don't think you really grasped what I did or how I was being treated, because you were acting as if, let's just give her the award and make it so she just doesn't, just gives up thinking she's being mentally abused. Oh, that's real mature there. But then again, this is a school that bullying was just the way things were. You never rocked the boat. You never tried to, and I mean, I told my mom once, I don't want to be in a school where I am just there to be treated like I am supposed to be some sort of pariah. And my mother was right. People didn't treat me like a human being. They treated me like it was a fucking joke to them. And one day I just thought, if they think I'm just a fucking pariah, fine, whatever, do what I want. And I ended up making more friends in the end by doing what I did how I wanted, ignoring the rules and ignoring the crowd. My mother didn't even bat an eye when I told her I don't feel sorry for myself. I feel frustrated. And I remember just telling my mom, I'm frustrated. And she's like, I know. And there was nothing she could do about it. That was the biggest problem with society and the frickin' community I was in. Everybody treated my sister like she could do no wrong. And even my little sister knew what was going on. And that was just the most disgusting display of of treating a person who probably needs help as if she is not as important as, say, the kid who is perfectionist. I remember my mom saying once, I remember one of my good friends named, I think her name is Kristen. One of Kristen's funniest comments was, people like that don't deserve your time. And she was right. They didn't deserve my time. They didn't deserve my attention. They didn't deserve any of it. And I was just happy as a clam to just clam up and say, fuck this, and don't just do my own thing. But I never treated another human being like they were in the wrong. But personally, whenever I did stand up for myself, I automatically thought I was wrong. And I think that's why I have a lot of detractors in the Colorado anime community, is because I was told I was wrong. It was wrong of me to stand up for myself. It was wrong of me to rock the boat and say, I don't care if the person is popular, but what he's doing is wrong, and he's mistreating me, and that's not fair. But again, you have a fan base of jerks who probably, I like anime, but I don't like Naruto, I don't like Days2-4, I don't like Attack on Titan, I don't like any of the stuff that's popular, but I like it. And somehow, what I like is the wrong thing. I still do like Sword Art Online. If I can't watch my favorite show again, I will probably if it's not about, say, the fact that I can read the light novels and have a blast reading them and still reread them over and over again, I could read that over and over and have the frickin' most amazing time with it. The series itself is not perfect. But again, I was reading stuff that probably, I'm still a fan of playing Stock Hacks EU. I absolutely enjoy it. But I also enjoy anime other games that most people don't realize that I enjoy. I still like old school Nintendo. I still like old school Pokemon. I still enjoy a lot of old school video games. I can be plugging away on a Game Boy Color playing an old-fashioned game like Pokemon, and I would be having a freaking blast. But the truth is, people constantly used to compare that to saying, oh my god, you're into this, oh my god, you're into... And I'm like, yeah, I'm into that, but, why are you making such a big deal about it in such a freaking irritating way? I don't like this game. So, when people start picking on me over games like Pokemon or and stuff, I got kind of annoyed because, you know, it's not as if I am playing something that anyone cannot play. Honestly, I can make the most fun games ever, but I'm not like a total gamer like I used to be. I mean, this game is pretty much what I'm into because that's what I've been playing. But the other thing is, I'm not a freaking jerk about it. I am not gonna be that kind of person who spends her whole life trying to treat a human being like a piece of crap. I have tried years to treat a person like a I got told by an animator back in the day of the time I did not start watching Naruto and DBZ. I mean, I stopped even playing on MySpace, which, by the way, that was actually way back then. I was on MySpace, and my favorite band was Royal Dead. I was watching stuff that probably most people didn't even know existed in anime. I mean, Unico was probably one of my favorite animes of all time at the time. But what I'm gonna mention is people are gonna say, "Oh, you're into that, blah blah blah." Yeah, thank you. But what really gets me is how people treat each other. I mean, I honestly don't know how anyone in the Colorado anime community can treat a human being like myself like crap. And I am sitting there one day going, but you are acting like I am supposed to be an awful human being, and yet I am shocked when someone like, say, I get shocked a lot by how people treat each other in the fan base, because it's just so awful. But one thing that still shocks me is I could go to an anime convention and I get this one person in the community going, "Oh, such and such is such a bad person," and yet here they are telling a whole bunch of people that they would rather have the most awful person in the entire fan base than actually have an honest human being. That has always been kind of that, why do you even try moment. Because I just sat there one time in a group of people at a convention as a girl accuses a guy who, FYI, the person that they accused didn't even have any interest in them at all. And she accuses this person of sexual assault. FYI, I'm just gonna mention, said person rejected her in the open. He told a bunch of people, "I have literally no interest in you." And yet, it was her word against his, and he still got banned from a convention. And yet, I am sitting here playing a video game and defending him, and the reason I'm defending him is, get this, because he never talked to her. He had zero interest. Yet, the entire fan base of anime nerds just went on a fucking lynching, or I can't describe it as a lynch, no. I'd say a witch hunt. This is a witch hunt. They went on a witch hunt to describe my friend as a fucking pedophile. And by the way, he isn't. He is not a pedo. He is not even capable of even liking a girl in that way. And he gets told, "Oh, FYI, she tried to have sex with me," and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, but he just rejected you, twice, and you tried to cover that up how? And then she just turned on me and said I was just being an apologist about it. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, but I've known this guy for like 20 years. there's no way in hell he could and would sexually assault a girl who he barely talked to at a con for less than maybe 5 seconds. And the only reason why is because he just felt compelled to the fact that they talked for 10 to 15 minutes and he told her he had 0 interest. Can you really explain that to me? Because I can't. I told one of my friends, I cannot understand how anybody in the anime community can justify what happened. I can't justify it. And I can't just say, oh, that never happened. It happened. It did. And the person who perpetrated it she is still blaming him even to this day because, oh my gosh, he is actually able to get off the registry for doing 0. I mean, I could not believe how much of a threat she felt. And she doesn't even live in the state. He wasn't even interested in her, even in the remotest sense as his possible girlfriend. And I sat there listening to this conversation maybe for years, and he said he did not understand why she did it. I can, in some sense. But I think it's the fact that she openly could not stand the fact he rejected her. And that kind of rejection is the fact that he didn't have interest in her because, one, at the time that she was doing this whole thing, from what I gathered, she had a boyfriend. She already had somebody, and my friend was not interested. He pretty much friend-zoned her. If you can believe that. I can, because he friend-zoned me, and he and I are not interested in each other in any way sexually, or even that. It is a platonic friendship. And in most sense, the platonicness of the friendship has existed for close to 10 years, and I'm still surprised as much as the next person that my friend cannot live up to the fact that he is still being told, oh, you're... I'm like, dude, you're telling my best friend here that he has to live with the fact that a girl lied to a cop. This is why I have such an issue with police officers, because some of them actually act like, oh, we're protecting and serving, but who's protecting me from you? I literally had told a cop this once. I said, yeah, you're protecting and serving, but who's protecting me from you? You could do anything to me, and I would be treated like I would probably be doing absolutely everything wrong. But unfortunately, it doesn't get any easier when you're explaining it, because people have this tendency to change how somebody is perceived. And I think it's mostly because, unfortunately, it's that feeling that I believe the girl, I hate to liken somebody, liken this to somebody who died so tragically and so horrifically based on a lie. And the truth is, Sylvia, I believe is her name, had such a horrifying existence because of this woman Gertrude that she believed everything Gertrude said, and Gertrude just destroyed her entire life. And unfortunately, that is a problem in society, is you don't know. People can use you and then take advantage of you. I had that happen with, when I was dealing with my bullying. I wasn't as severe as what Sylvia got, but holy hell, it felt as if I was being basically told I was a liar, and so I just sort of had to accept the lie. I had to accept the truth that people are going to see me as a liar, so I have no choice. But what could I do? I could inadvertently say, yes, it's true, I'm a liar. Or I could accept the fact that it is not true, I'm not a liar, and my side of the story is fact. But unfortunately, I live with something over my head since 2009, and it's still gonna be that way the rest of my life. I don't have a choice. And that is probably the worst thing I can do, to tell people, yes, that happened, yes, I think a liar, and my friend has texts from when my roommate had assaulted my friend. And the thing is, I'm still mad at her because it turned out that I had to recant some of the things that was said, because it turned out she did lie. She did carry a weapon. She did threaten me. And it, to me, just sort of like, you put me on a very uncomfortable spot. And yet, here I am, believing that I cannot help somebody. I cannot help you. That is the worst part of it. People are awful to people who actually tell the truth. So I'm just like, maybe it's better to lie than tell the truth. Because honestly, I'd rather not be subjected to that kind of scrutiny when I've done nothing wrong. But again, you have that whole concept in, let's say, the furry community where that kind of thing happens as well. I'm going to talk about a furry that I was friends with named Larry Narsith. Larry Narsith absolutely did not deserve the treatment he got. Unfortunately, it did not end with him getting any vindication because his ex-girlfriend had lied. Unfortunately, it also added to the fact that someone said that she may have forged a lot of stuff. And I honestly don't know. I don't. Because I don't know whether or not I can believe she did forge or not forge something. I once told an ex-friend that I can't trust somebody who treated me like I did everything wrong, and yet here I am telling the truth, and I am still considered a liar in the anime community anyway, so it's kind of a ridiculous redundancy to try and tell the truth, and you know that nobody can believe you. And yes, I still think nobody's gonna believe me. I could tell the truth 1,000 times till Friday, and I'd still be treated like I'm telling a lie. That is just an acceptance of living, even though I was honest and told the truth. I've never told anybody in the fandom that I was treated like that, and it still to this day shocks people when they find out that I'm still blamed for something I can't do, or I can't. It's just something I can't get over. But the truth is, you tend to learn to live with it. I learned to live with it, and I tend to learn that the best adaptations I can do is to pretend what happened didn't happen. But again, that just makes it worse, because people will tell you you're just putting more emphasis on the person who told a lie. That you're just augmenting the fact that you're doing it, that the lie is the lie, and you're not. And even though people live with the lie, you can't do anything to protect yourself when the community has been infallible and you're not infallible. Trying to tell the truth is never so easy than to be told you're the liar and don't speak all the time. That is the one problem with the fur fandom and the anime fandom, is they're all the same. They do the same thing to each other. And you're talking out your ass when you realize how far it goes and how far that pit goes. But here I am, and to this day, I think that half the fandom are a bunch of lying sacks of horse shit. But you know what? It's not my fault entirely. It's the way the fandom is. I could just tell one of my friends once that, you know, I could just go out and tell the truth, but it's never gonna change the fact that it's never gonna change. You're never gonna see your fan base, your friends in the fandom, as you did when you were younger and better than you were 25 years ago. How do I actually explain what happened to me in the fur fandom without, or in the anime fandom without actually getting in trouble with it? That is a big question. That is a huge question. Can I? No. Is it possible? No. Is it even remotely able to be done without you being told you are a nasty human being? Why don't you just kill yourself? No. Because you are looking at an excuse that is never going to be fulfilled. I could probably tell an entire story about how you can avoid it, but unfortunately anime fans do not like getting told you're in the wrong. How do you tell somebody they're wrong when they've been told all their lives that that fandom is a family? It's not a family. It's not your real family. Friendship is not a family. Faking friendship is not a family. What's faking your family is basically telling some poor 14-year-old telling a 14-year-old that So, I'm gonna mention before closing that if you are part of an anime fandom and you know the toxicity is existing, do yourself a favor and drop out. You can still like your anime, you don't need to be part of this friendship circle where they will inevitably just abuse you, throw you out, call you out for liking what you like and not caring that you are injured based on the fact that they will injure you. If you are ever in that position, you need to get out. I could tell you 100 times that this kind of thing is going to injure you. I've been through it. But also I've been through the fact that these people take pleasure in injury because they don't care. They don't want to care. So the fan base is not infallible. They're not gonna get upset if you decide you're not gonna take their discussion anymore. If you don't like Naruto, that's perfectly fine. If you don't like DBZ, that is your choice. They don't need to guilt trip you into liking something, knowing full well that it's not your thing. I mean, I told one guy I'm not into Naruto, it's not my thing, it's bad writing. And being told, oh, you're just being bigoted. No, I'm being a writer. And writers don't watch shows that glorify a sort of irritating bad writing. I mean, what kind of writing do you think I should be into if that condones bad storytelling? It is bad storytelling. It's not going to get any better. But I'm also going to mention that, if anything, the abuse that I mean, I'm just going to say this about Mr. Richter, who does the Human Monsters podcasts, which, by the way, if you ever listen to him, he is freaking good. His narrations are awesome, so I absolutely will prove on that. But I will mention that Mr. Richter is, after learning about Gertrude and her disgusting family and what they did, it still horrifies me that people are like that, even to this day. I cannot condone half of the things that happened to this poor girl and her sister, and how much pain her family and sister must have gone through. But people like Gertrude are around, and they come in different forms and different formulas. I have sat through years of listening to people make excuses over my learning disabilities and making excuses of, oh, but your special needs, you don't need. No, that's not how it works. You can treat me like a fucking monster or whatever, but it doesn't take away the fact that I was treated like a fucking, I was an idiot. People who treat me like I'm an idiot, generally don't get to know me very well, because I don't actually have a sympathy. I don't have sympathy for a person who abuses another person. I've never had sympathy toward people like my ex-friend Keith, who lied and called me his girlfriend, even though, just so you know, I'm not his girlfriend. But, yeah, I'm supposed to be. Because, yeah, it doesn't... I don't think that what he did was, in my opinion, right, but you know what? I think that for the most part, I don't see it as what I used to see my handicap as a person who had a learning disability. But I do see one thing that irritates the hell out of me is when people tell me that whole, oh, you're doing so well for somebody with your incapacities. It's like, oh, really? I have an incapacity of learning? That's not how it works. You can tell me all you fucking want that I am not a good person, but when you go around treating somebody with a learning disability like they're a fucking inconvenience, you tend to learn to deal with that. Anyone who has a learning disability is not an inconvenience. A person who has a disability that is, well, I view people with the incapacity to be nice to others as an inconvenience. That to me is kind of what I did to somebody one time, and yeah, if you're in an area where you know there's abuse going on, get the hell out. It doesn't matter if you like something or you're part of something and you think you're part of a community. Get the fuck out. Don't try. Because you're just gonna end up hating your life much worse.